Fair enough.
So, John, what's the couple, the 3 or 4 bullets that are all that would describe you?
So, I teach at business school. So twice a year, I have an opportunity to teach 400 students and teach stuff like strategy, management consulting. And then also, I'm a consultant's consultant. So I do work with quite a few consulting firms to help them train their newbie consultants. So if you think about the type of things that you and I end up talking about a lot, it's basically how can you help get stuff done when you yourself don't have the authority to do it? Because what does a consultant do but try to figure out in the situation in a short amount of time what's really important and what can really motivate people to move. So I think I'm in the business of helping people move big rocks.
Yeah, and so I would call that leadership. Sounds like very similar things.
That's it.
And you were a consultant for a long time too. That's also important for people to know.
I appreciate that. It's interesting that it's leadership because I always consider myself a number 2, not a number 1. And it's interesting because I think leadership, a lot of times you always think it's the goose that's in the front, right? So I love being thought of as a leader, but it's interesting. I think that's also possible to do that as a number 2. And I'd be curious if you agree.
I agree completely. They talk about leading from the front, but they also talk about leading from behind.
Which always never sounds as attractive. But I would say super useful, and there's a lot more of number 2 spots than number 1 spots, is what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Right? So, but that's cool. Thanks for calling me a leader. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I didn't actually call you a leader. I just said that we described was leadership. See how I did that?
I was fishing for the compliment. Did not land it.
I think that is a good segue, though, into our topic of director, because I think directors lead from the front, but they also lead in kind of a number 2 position.
Right.
Too, and they lead from behind. So when you think about the times when you were typically engaged by a client, would it be, who would you be working with? Would you be working with directors, VPs, SVPs, any and all of the above?
Yeah, I think any and all of the above. One thing that's really important is a lot of times the directors are your client counterparts. So it's the director's boss a lot of times who actually signs the statement of work, who brought you in, who has the relationship. And they actually have the benefit of actually seeing the forest for the trees. Right? So, they might be over many functions of which one the director works at. So, but a lot of times the director they're the one who's actually going to help it happen. So they have the domain expertise. They know where all the bodies are buried and the problems are. And a lot of times, in my opinion, the directors, the managers, they're kind of the glue that holds the place together.
Yeah.
So
they're doing a lot of the work, involved in more of the execution of the work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's fun in a way. I was recently with a set of 25 kind of associate director level people, and part of the challenge is for consultants at least is you're managing up, managing down, and managing your clients. And a lot of times those 3 don't always line up. So as a director, your role is to really kind of navigate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the folks who are listening who maybe aren't in typical corporate roles, so we're using director as a kind of placeholder. So this is somebody they went from individual contributor and then they moved up into manager. So now I'm managing other individual contributors. And then I became a senior manager. I've been doing this for a while and I'm really good at this. Got promoted to senior manager. Then you get promoted to director. And the difference of director between a manager is directors now have managers reporting to them with teams underneath them. So I think that's, some organizations don't use that term, but that's essentially what we're looking. We're looking for a manager of managers. So now you're managing other managers.
Yep.
And then the VP is the same kind of thing. Then you have directors that have managers. So the scale just keeps building. But it's a big difference to go from managing individual contributors to now managing managers.